Hello my beautiful Wardian children, welcome back to another video. I am so sorry about my fan again, but I gotta keep it cool in here for the axolotls. Anyway, I've been meaning to read this fan fiction out on my channel for a very long time because I've talked it up to my friends and some of my friends want to read it, but they don't like reading. So I told them I would read it out on here on the channel so that they could listen to me read it. His story is called Russian Roulette. Yes, it's a Country Humans AU. Yes, it's a Russian AU. But hear me out, y'all. Because I try to find cringe fan fictions when I'm bored, just something to laugh at. And I found this one day, and it's actually really good. Hear me out, okay? It's really freaking good. So, finally, I'm gonna start reading, and the reason why I'm finally remembering to read it is because I am like 12 chapters behind in this thing, and I'm just like, okay, I need to read this. I need to know what happens next because, oh my gosh, it was a cliffhanger the last time I read it, and I was just like, oh, I can't wait for the next chapter. Hear me out, y'all, it's so good. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about it, and I'm gonna get right into it. Okay, like I said, this fanfiction is called Russian Roulette. It's by this little person here. You see, let me go to their thing so you guys can see. It's by this amazing writer right here. As you can see, Russian Roulette is number 6, and I'm not surprised because, oh my, I'm not even kidding with y'all. It is so good. It is so good. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna get right into it. I've been talking this thing up for 2 minutes. I suggest you go follow this artist because they got mad skill, bro. The end. Prologue. I'm not kidding, y'all. It's so good. It is so good. I'm gonna have to stop and go get the dog from outside because I just let her out. But it's so good. The barren, toxic wasteland stretched on for miles passing the horizon. The toxic fumes had yet to settle. One breath could be lethal. Unconscious bodies piled up in the area. Perhaps not unconscious, but rather dead. With their lifeless eyes and expressions that seemed like a hoarse scream was stuck on the tip of their tongues. It was a bloody and gruesome scene. 2 people stood amidst it all, one lying on the ground with a fatal life-threatening injury in the heart. The other kneeled next to the injured person. The person's blood slowly seeped into the ground, dying in a crimson shade of red. The metallic scent of blood was overpowered by the deathly poison flowing in the air around them. The other's eyes were dull and bloodshot. Their expression held no trace of any emotion, as if they were gone numb towards the pain. The entire perimeter was wiped out. The city was It's so good, y'all. I was isolated and no longer held any trace of life. It was a lost cause. No amount of nights would be able to save this cursed place. Right at this moment, the silence was deafening. Dot, dot, dot. Past the stone walls, you could hear the loud voices. They all spoke the same. The word passed from person to person like a tidal wave. Hey, did you hear? The leader of a revolution is getting executed today. Meanwhile, inside the prison, the large steel door swung open as a young man bound in chains was escorted through the door by 2 guards. Immediately he entered, he hit with the stench of rusting metal. A gust of cold air brushed against his skin, making him shiver. As he walked, the chains on his ankles dragged on the floor. It made a noise every step he took. His head was covered by a sack. The leader was famous for never revealing his face to anyone. No one was ever seen his face other than the government officials, and when they captured him, the guards were quite rough with him. After unlocking the empty prison cell, they threw him inside without a care of whether he would be hurt or not. They then removed the sack off his head, since the other prisoners would not be able to see his face either way. They shut the door with a loud clang, then started at the prisoner with mocking eyes. Stared. Oh my God. Then stared at the prisoner with mocking eyes. Don't even think about breaking out. You may be the most infamous person right now, but you're nothing without your powers. The young man stared at the two guards with narrowed eyes. His eyes followed them as they walked out of the prison, laughing. Once he determined for sure they had already left, he let out a sigh of relief. He lifted his hands that were bounded by black chains and circled around his wrists. These chains were made by a special metal that restrict the users of abilities, so right now he was the equivalent of a cripple. What is a leader without their ability or people? If they're so overkill, that's no need to bound me by 4 different chains by each limb. One would have been enough, the man complained without expecting a reply. Shockingly enough, though, he did. Well, you are a pretty notorious figure. I guess it would be reasonable for them to be extra cautious with you. The young man grinned at this response, quite content with being able to find someone to talk to while awaiting his inevitable death. The person on the other side of the wall continues. Let me guess, did the military's little dog apprehend you? Well then, how about you? The young man continued, listening in the crowd's commotion from past the prison walls. The other prisoner replied, I was captured by him. That's why I'll never forget his face. What a shame. Such a good-looking young man with a bright future, yet giving himself up to work for the king. Indeed, what a shame. The other prisoner could hear the young man smiling as he spoke. The young man spoke again. Will you be watching my execution? It's a very special one. Were prisoner or not, you'd be able to watch it. The other prisoner was silent for a while. You could hear water dripping slowly from the ceiling. I'm pretty sure the only reason they're letting everyone watch is to strike fear into people's hearts, to prevent them from rising in revolt like you did. But in any case, I'm still going to watch. I miss looking at the outside world anyways. Then I'll put on a good show. We'll see about that. The young man. What are you in for? The other party let out a series of unbridled laughter, but interlaced with despair and regret. Let's say I went against the ruler of my kingdom. It was ages ago. I see. Similar to me, then. The young man seemed to be thinking about something. He spoke slower and solemnly. The other prisoner could tell he wanted to keep chatting, but instead of making the atmosphere serious. What kingdom are you from? Had to let the dog in. Britannia. His eyes widened slightly. Oh, cute. How could a Britannia burst someone like you, who hates the kingdom rulers, to be born? Britannia is the best out of all the kingdoms. Wouldn't you have a good childhood? Or at least the king and queen would have treated their people well over there. The young man scoffed. I love my home kingdom. I don't like the others. My childhood isn't important for you to know. I'm so jealous of you. I wish I was born there instead of Europe. That place is a land of sickness and plague. People would usually stay away from me the second I tell them I'm from there. Trust me, you would not want to be jealous of me. His blue eyes averted to the floor, though they were a different shade of blue from each other. The door of the prison abruptly slammed open. The 2 guards from before walked up to the young man's cell. The lock clinked open. They forced the sack on his head again. Without resistance from the other party. Walk straight ahead. No funny business. They nudged him forward. The young man spoke as he walked. It was nice talking to you, Spain. Spain's eyes widened. He shot up from his seat and slammed his head against the bars of the cell. How do you know my name? He raised his voice and clenched to the bars tightly until his knuckles were white. I don't know why I just paused there. The chain encircled around his right wrist jingled as he did. You'll see. I told you I'd show you a good show, didn't I? Holy crap, there's a whole hair down my throat. The young man slowly disappeared from his line of sight. As the prison door closed, Spain sluggishly slumped down on his knees with his fingers still around the cell bars. He found the leader to be eerily calm. A static screen appeared on the wall of the prison cell. It was like a hologram. It flickered on. The screen displayed a massive crowd underneath a platform. Atop the platform were two guards, adorned in the famous Kingdom Guard attire, with sword in their hands. The executioners, no doubt. In front of the platform, behind the crowd, were all the rulers of each kingdom. They all sat in the appropriate thrones. The person in the middle was definitely the center of all. Their seating was positioned on the wall so that they could look over the crowd from behind the best and have the best view. Spain clenched his teeth. Good luck getting out of this. Meanwhile, atop the walls, where they could not be seen, was a small group of people wearing cloaks. You know, when you've read the other chapters, it's like so exciting to read this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna shut up now. Fucking death. The one that seemed to be in charge lifted his head, revealing his face covered by masks and horns sticking out of his... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so excited about that. When you read the other chapters... Okay. It's not done yet, obviously, so, you know, it's not actually to this actual part. But I'm still excited. Anyways. The one that seemed in charge lifted his head, revealing his face covered by a mask and horns sticking out of his cloak. When the prisoner walked up the steps to the stage, a pair of dragon wings abruptly extended from the person in the cloak's back. "Move on," he commanded in a husky voice. Without another wasted word, the group dispersed to the surrounding walls. They were... Honestly, I don't know what that word is. So they were not spotted. The one with the dragon's wings stood in his spot and sneered. "America, you are an absolute hassle to deal with." I'm sorry, I know it's country humor, so it automatically makes it cringy, but it's still so good. It's written so well. Anyway, I'm absolutely in love with this fanfiction. And I'm not ashamed of it. Frick y'all, it's even the art is good. They do the art themselves, and even it. Oh my gosh. Okay. I will leave a link to the fan fiction in the description if y'all want to go read it yourselves. I love you, my beautiful Voidian children. Goodbye.